Yeah. Yeah.
Leon Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. Leon Thomas is here. Yep. All right, Leon, I need you to put your hands up right here. Come on.
Put my
Here we go. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Leon Thomas in the building. What's going on, man?
What's good, man? I'm chilling. Can't complain. Life is good. Life is
How
really.
are you? Everything well?
Things
You
are
look
well.
good?
Working on a lot of music, just kind of vibing out. Getting ready for a new season. Post Corona, I know there's gonna be a lot of work to be handed out, so I'm ready to get it in.
Yeah, man. You done cut all your hair off, man. Last time I saw you had dreads.
Yeah, man. It's been some time. I did a film called Detroit where, I was playing a singer in the 1960s, and it was really cool, man. But I had to cut my hair for it because it was a period piece, and Catherine Bigelow is definitely like a realist, and I'm glad that I actually had that opportunity to work with an Oscar award-winning director and to even tell that story during such a turbulent time. You think about all the police brutality issues we go through today in 2020. This was a piece done about 1967, and not much.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just really couldn't turn that great opportunity down. For the sake of my hair, I had to do it for my.
They couldn't do anything else that you could do something with your hair, wrap it up, put a wig on or something. You had to literally cut it off.
Talking wigs, but I personally was down for the journey, honestly. It was something that a lot of other films had tried to get me to do prior to that. I turned down a couple movies based off of my hair. So I just felt like it was just the right time, and I think it worked out perfectly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did you grow your hair, man? 'Cause your hair was rather long.
Yeah, very long. So I've been growing it for probably like 10, 15 years. Around that time,
Wow.
It was like 10 years, at least 10 years around that time.
Yeah, well, thank you for accepting my invitation, man, because I think you're a super duper talented guy. I just wanted to give you some shine because I was playing your music and I said, wait a minute, I'm gonna invite this dude and see if he'll come on and have a chat with me.
Hell, man. I really appreciate you for playing the record, man. I mean, it's such a special song for me, and just to have it continuously, going on. I mean, it just definitely means a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take it back to the beginning. I know you and I talked about this before, but starting on Broadway at age 10, and having the opportunity to be in The Lion King as young Simba and being in The Color Purple and Caroline, who recognized your talent first? For you to even have such great opportunities at a young age.
Man, my story is a crazy one because at 10 years old, my mother, she's a singer, and she had a club date band with my stepfather, and she got a gig to do this amazing piece with like deaf children who could dance to the vibrations of the music on the floor. It was crazy, right? So I'm going to rehearsal with my mom as a 10-year-old just to kind of check it out. I mean, it's these deaf kids who are able to dance to the vibrations. It's fire. So I'm there vibing, and the leader of the gig pretty much came over to my mom and was like, he should audition for Lion King. He has a little twist, and he has a lot of energy. He seems to have like a lot of charisma. You should give him a shot, see what happens. Next thing I know, the couple weeks later, I auditioned for Lion King, and it was my first audition. Got it. I was on Broadway in about a month, and from there it was just a snowball effect. I got a manager, Brian Leader, who discovered me around like 11 years old, 12 years old, and introduced not just more Broadway opportunities, but also the opportunity for Nickelodeon and an intro into Warner Brothers.
Wow. That's so crazy. So did you have the audition to be in Victorious?
Yeah, but it was an interesting situation because I was pretty much groomed by Viacom, by Nickelodeon. So I started on Nick Jr. with Backyardigans, and got their attention doing like other one-off shows. And what they did was sign me to a development deal at 13 years old. So I had a record deal with Columbia Records at that age, and I had like shows being developed for me. I was having like every couple months meetings in Times Square to meet with different screenwriters and people who could help put a put a TV show together, but they finally found the golden egg, which was Victorious, and we're like, yo, fly out to LA, you know, meet with Dan Schneider. I met with him on the Zoe 101 set, and it was very interesting because a lot of it was, I got to see a lot more of the behind the scenes aspects than most young actors do. The fact that I was kind of going the executive approach rather than necessarily just kind of throwing, you know, paint at the wall. It was like more so about like, what can we craft for my specific talents rather than what's out there on the marketplace.
Wow. So yeah, I did want to talk about the Backyardigans, man, because that was a show that I loved even as a grown up. Like Tyrone and Uniqua and all them on the show. That was a great cartoon, man. So how did you get involved with that?
It was really interesting because when I was doing this play called Carolina Change, and a friend of mine who was actually in the same play as me was the original voice of Tyrone, but then he got puberty and his voice like changed, you know, midway through the season. They were like, man, like scrambling trying to find a kid. And my manager got wind of it, so I auditioned for it, and I randomly got the gig, and it ended up in a 2-season thing for me, which is really cool. And I got a chance to really work with a lot of very amazing musicians on that show too, which is very, very cool. Evan Bogart, I think is his name, was the dude who was doing a lot of the music on there.
Okay. So did you know you could sing at that time? I'm quite sure you
did. Man, I mean, I was on Broadway musicals, you know, that kind of thing. So like, I knew I had the ability to really go, but I knew that I still had work to do in order to become like an artist. It's really what I wanted to have happen. So I really studied a lot of people and worked with a lot of people to kind of just hone in, not just my ability as an artist, but as a writer and a producer, which actually proved to be a very useful tool later on in my career.
Oh, absolutely. Ain't it funny how you look back and see how each thing fit into each other?
Yeah. God has the plan, man. But I've been kind of just flying with my destiny and just like letting things flow, and also staying very focused on my goals. And I'm always having like a perspective on what the next chapter looks like, even if it always come out exactly how I pictured it. I think having that mental idea is like the key to really going there. Yeah.
So speaking of which, how would you connect Broadway into what type of things did you learn from Broadway that helped you become the voice of Tyrone and then lead you on to TV as characters?
I think Broadway, it's all about rehearsal, preparation. You know, if you're not prepared, you're not going to be able to do that piece 8 times a week the same way. So for me, and make sure that I'm always super focused and just like ready. And I think that's what set me apart from a lot of other young actors who were kind of relying on the lines or the script. You know, like for me, I was always just coming in memorized, even to the point that when I would go to auditions, a little psych out tool I would use was come through super memorized. And while everybody's in that audition room waiting, I'll just chalk up a nice little conversation. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? What's your day been like? You know what I'm saying? At this point, I put too much work in beforehand. You know what I'm saying? Come here and let people study lines right before that audition, you know?
You in there trying to throw them off their game so you can get the part. So how easy is it for you to remember all of that stuff, man? Because that's a skill.
It ain't easy. It ain't easy. But I'm like big on the number 15. So I'll like read it without trying to memorize 15 times. And then I'll run it 15 times with the script, and then I'll run it without the script 15 times. And then I got to do it perfect 15 times before I can put the script down.
Good Lord. You take anything for your brain? Do you take ginkgo biloba, anything like that to help you out with your memory?
Nah, I don't really mess with any nootropics, but I think I really want to start messing with that. I think it could be like a really helpful thing for me. But caffeine for me, man, you know, and as long as I really keep up with my workouts, my memory is like on point.
What you do to work out?
I try to run, but lately it's been jump ropes, weighted jump ropes. I've been going boxing workouts, calisthenics, like kind of CrossFit. So you're doing like, you know, jump ropes, and then jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, whatever, you know, run around, come back, do it all again 5 times until it's done, and then you feel good, and you feel like, you know, feel like you really knocked it out.
Right. You feel like you can conquer the world at that point.
Exactly. At that point, you keep it going.
What about your diet? What kind of things are you eating?
More recently, you know, me and my girlfriend, we've been super focused on just like healthy, organic foods. You know, I've been trying to cut down on the meat, but I'm doing chicken and fish and just super baked, you know, sauteed, nothing fried, just trying to really get right before the end of this year. I feel like I can feel there's some blessings coming, so I'm just getting ready for it before it happens.
Yeah. So, you know, were you a homebody before this whole quarantine thing started, or how did it change your life?
You know, I was definitely a homebody, but I was always moving, working, you know, but when it was my time off, I definitely spent time to kind of veg and, you know, Netflix, chill and, you know, hang.
Right,
So,
right.
too, like, abnormal for me. But I definitely missed a lot of the studio sessions I was doing because that was really cool to just work with all the different artists who are in LA, you know, whether it be for a time or they live here, like just to kind of collaborate and just make magic, man. Music is crazy. When you get into a room and you have no idea what's going to come out and then you walk out of it with a memorable song, I mean, that's a special feeling. You don't really get.
We definitely got to talk about that shift because, you know, I mean, I know both sides because I got kids that watch you on Nickelodeon. Victoria, they love the show. We be seeing it on TV now. Be like, oh, that's my man Leon Thomas, bro.
Still going. Yeah.
So I gotta have you shout out my boys, Trey and Chase. They sitting here with me now. They love you as Andre on Victorious. So shout them out for me, Trey and Chase.
What's up, Trey and Chase? What's good, y'all? Appreciate y'all for watching the show. And thanks for putting your dad on to some of my music and the vibes, man. Appreciate y'all.
You gonna say something?
Thank you.
Oh, it's
I told you they in here hanging with me. They hang with me on every live, man. So they love the show.
Perfect.
So they was excited when they found out you was coming on.
Man, that's really dope. Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yeah, so we got to shift because I want to know when you started picking up all these instruments and the shift into production, all the artists that you have worked with. So how'd you learn music, first of all these instruments?
Well, I had an abnormal childhood due to the fact that even before I started, my parents, you know, my mom had started an independent label out of our living. So, like, they signed a rapper, they signed, like, this lady who was, like, doing, like, folk music. So I was watching all of these different artists kind of go through the process of, like, you know, recording, coming up with their brand, and then, like, putting music out, and then either working or not working. And we had a studio at the house too. So for me, like, rather than like being hyped to go to the playground after school, I was hyped to go sneak into my dad's studio and like mess around with the production equipment. And that was like my rebellious actions as a teen, you know what I'm saying? Or like as a kid. And it turned into a really lucrative just hobby for me. Like production was something I was doing the entire time while I was acting. But I just got really good at it around 16. I started producing songs for the show, Victorious, and then from there, even producing my own music, and then I met my production partner at like 18, and we formed our duo, the Rascals.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest just kind of started flowing. I mean, we got a #1 R&B record that same year, and then we got on Babyface and Tony Braxton's duet album, won a Grammy. And a friend of mine was like, I want to try music. She happens to be Ariana Grande. I'm like, cool. I'll help. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, pull up to the studio. I randomly just have a new studio come through. So she came through, and then we ended up producing half of her first album. And from there, like, it just became this, like, budding, amazing business that was, you know, really gave me the chance to flex my muscles as an entrepreneur during the off season. You know, filming TV shows like Insecure and Satisfaction, and, you know, doing movies and stuff. You know, I felt like it was just a great way to just keep my cash flow great, and then also retain, like, you know, residual income, which will come for the rest of my life, you know, and royalties, everything. So that's really like my new hobby. Rather than trying to buy chains, I'm trying to put records together so I can get more royalties.
Man, boy, you need to say that. Man, give him a round of applause. You need to say that thing again, bro. Because, you know, like when we start to really think about, there you go. You know, and that's a message right there that a lot of people should learn from. It ain't necessary to go out here and flash and flaunt for somebody to stick you up and rob you anyway. You know, I like where your head is at. You know, you thinking about the residual and these things continuing to come in, because when we have down periods like this, that nobody expected this corona to hit and put a lot of people out of work.
Yeah, and there's a world of business that's not tangible, that you can't touch. You know, music is one of those things that you can create, you can make it work. You know, but it sells so much. So like publishing for me, once I read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, that put me on to residual income, right? So I'm like, okay, all right, so I got all these talents. What's the one thing that I know is going to give me loads and loads of residual income? As an actor, you can get residuals from doing a TV show, or if it goes into syndication, which is like once in a blue moon. But as, you know, a producer, I worked my hardest. I got out of my pub deal, so I recouped. Now I have a huge catalog of great songs, and it's time to, like, now as Black people find ways to really attain that kind of income, that residual income. Because once we get that, man, it's next level. Then we can start having generational wealth, you know, and have something to pass down to, you know, hopefully my publishing will be big enough to really, like, you know, feed my kids and my grandkids. And that's the whole goal.
Like, name some of the songs that you've worked on, man. 'Cause your catalog is great. I don't want to miss anything. Name some of the great things that you've done.
So I had the opportunity to work with Drake and Rick Ross on Rick Ross' first single for his last album, Gold Roses. I have, I don't want to say too much about this, but I got some new LMA coming. I got some new Ariana I've been working on, Ty Dolla $ign, bunch of different hip hop artists. I've had records out with Kodak Black, Post Malone, Wiz Khalifa. But, you know, for me, working with Kehlani, seeing an artist come from the beginning all the way to stardom that she is now, it's like some of the special moments that I'm really proud to say I was a part of as well. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to keep going, though. I really want to have my own artist at some point, too, you know, really help cultivate talent and, like, you know, just really build it out. I'm almost done. Really, really, really amazing book, man. Industry Bible, and it's like teaching me all the different little aspects of the business that I thought I already knew, but like I'm learning way more now.
Yeah. And, you know, and you learn by doing too, man, which is a beautiful thing that you got to be involved in it so early.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of the mistakes that I've made in my early 20s, people make in their, you know, mid to late 30s, 40s, damn near sometimes. So, you know, I'm really blessed for that, and I'm just thankful for, you know, being able to live life the way that I have, man. And thanks for even having me on this thing, man. This is really cool to do the live.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, man. Like, you don't even know. So, you know, like, and you talking about making mistakes when you early. You're just a little bit about me. I started doing radio when I was in the 10th grade. You know, and then when I graduated from college and I went to it, and I'll show you this. I just finished writing this book, which tells my story. Like, and I was making $6 an hour, working 4 hours a day in a major market radio station, you know, like, and I was able to grab the horns of it and turn it into something, because I knew where I could take this dream just by having that stepping stone. You know, so I definitely applaud you on sharing your story, man. You're gonna be a blessing to so many people with that.
Man, thank you, man. I feel like a lot of people rush big deals. They rush into, you know, getting into business with certain people, feeling like it's going to open the doors to this magical land of music industry. But to be completely honest, there's a lot of reading you should do before you sign anything. There's a lot of ask before you talk and commit yourself to something. So I think it's really important as a people that we celebrate the success of, you know, coming into these deals, celebrate the success of, you know, being able to sell music, but how much do you own of said music? How much can you actually, like, what creative control do you have of that music? You know, that. So for any young artists listening, anybody who's trying to make it work, just try to find ways. I mean, it's not always going to be easy, because not everybody's going to have the leverage to make whatever they want happen, but at least be aware of every, you know, aspect of the deals you're jumping into.
Yeah, because you should know the backstory of the business too. You know, because my manager and I talk about this all the time, of how you have successful people that have been in business for years and years on top of years. And you know, they tout that. They beat on their chests about that. But a lot of people's success was built off the backs of ignorance of other people.
Right.
So we don't take the time to educate ourselves. We're always the ones who take the brunt of all of that. You know, while they're getting rich, we still sitting in mama's basement chilling.
You know,
fronting like we rich on Instagram.
You know, fronting, like, you know, trying to make something happen. I mean, it looks great though. It looks awesome. But I mean, just kind of hanging around and being able to make music and even in the acting space, I found myself in conversations with people, and I realized the entire reason that they're richer than 70 to 80% of the people around them is because they were able to stay informed while somebody was completely ignorant during a deal. And because they just knew all the aspects, every angle of what was going on, and the person signing just didn't really get it, you know? So all I'm asking for is for, you know, I'm going to start a book club. That's something I'm starting next. I know it sounds super like corny, but like that's definitely something I want to do because I feel like more people need to know this info. Like they just need to
right. And you should, you know what I mean? It don't matter how corny it is, you know, whatever feeds us and makes us happy, we should do everything that makes us happy in our life. You ain't getting no another time around. It's only one time.
For real.
What's up, Lettucey? I saw Lettucey in the room. She said, "Hey, Leon."
Oh, Lettucey. Oh, that's the OG, man. Yo, we Carolina changed together. So I remember like my first taste of seeing like the artist side of things was watching her do like her first tape in the dressing rooms. You know what I'm saying? Like she was recording herself, writing everything. I was like, man, she's amazing. So really cool, really dope.
Yeah.
Old friend.
Yeah, family right there. Lettucey, my fam, boy. We came up on the grind together.
Yeah, Lettucey's amazing. Her voice is just like fire, and I just feel like her songwriting is amazing too. That's like a big.
Oh yeah. You know what? Speaking of songwriting, I think my son Trey had a question for you about songwriting.
Okay, great.
What was your question, son?
What's your process on writing songs?
Well, for me, you know, one of my strong writer are my melody. So I'm a stronger singer than I am lyricist. So what I'll do is come with a strong melody, forget, and then I'll attach that melody and then kind of fill in the blanks from there. That's like my 1 through 3 process, and it takes usually like 3 to 4 hours, and sometimes multiple days if I'm really stuck on a certain part.
So what do you play on guitar or piano, or do you do some of that first, or?
Well, you know, when it comes to production, you know, I'm very well versed in Logic. Sorry, I'm very well versed in Logic. So it's very fun to just start the platform of a record. You know, really get like the meat and bones of it, which are the beat, and then from there it'll inspire all these different, you know, melodies, and then from there the lyrics will come.
So do you do the same thing when you work with other artists too?
No, because not everybody works like that. Some people are like, you know, completely introverted while they write and then just need help filling in certain blanks. Some people need me to do a bunch of stuff and then I'll go into my own bag and do my thing. But when it's a collaborative process, we're talking through the song. Now it's different. Now it's like we're going to have a full-blown, like, I want to say, hour to 2 hour conversation about your life. And I'm going to pick up all these details. And then that's song, because you want to have your life, you want to have your DNA into it, you know. I think when you just try to kind of make it procedural, like almost like make it feel like it's just, you know, any old thing, it becomes almost like the song doesn't have enough energy to survive out there in the world. It'll maybe get the placement it needs, but will it last? Will it be one of those records people remember? I don't know, because it didn't have your life.
Right, exactly. I like that, man. I like that. I see a lot of people still calling you Andre, man. People can't see.
Hey, you know,
I'm trying to watch these comments going up the screen. I guess you're going to forever be Andre.
I don't know. I embrace it. I think it's beautiful.
So when you out in the street and people see you, do they say, Andre?
Yeah, see, that's how you might get ignored if you don't come right, if you don't come correct. But I feel like online it's just like it's one of those moments. I remember even for me, like the only downfall is that they actually use their names, which is beautiful. But for me, I have Andre, but Keenan and Kel. Seeing Keenan for the first time, I freaked out. I mean, I used to watch Keenan and Kel and all that, so I know the same feeling. I respect it, you know.
Right. I can dig it. Yeah, because you got people from back in the day, boy. They did more than 100 shows and whatever people identified them by. They was always that character.
But I mean, people forget that we did. I think it was 50 episodes of Victorious. So I mean, we were halfway there. So it was
Wow,
a long time being in people's living room, you know, hanging with them through sad times, and that show cheered them up. You know, it's just like this is what it is.
So are you still friends with people from the cast?
Yeah, man. Yeah, Ari really close. You know, me and Vic were really close too. Avin Jogia, we had a beer not too long ago, hung out. It's just all love. Everybody hangs out. I mean, we try to connect more often, but it's tough. We're too busy.
Yeah. I see somebody talking about I'm hating. I ain't hating. That's my man.
Hey,
I gotta be a hater. I'm just asking a question. I was just watching the comments go up the screen. Why I got to be a hater? Where that come from? I want to take some questions from the audience in here. Was that cool with you?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Here's one here from Pedro. I can't read all that. Will you have a season 5 of it?
I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna happen. Not a whole season, but who knows? We might have a reunion, something put together. I feel like there's definitely, something in the wings. So we'll see. But a season, nah.
Okay. And then when everybody start growing up, man, things kind of change. Like you mentioned, the guy that went through puberty. This is Kira. Most heartfelt song you ever wrote?
Most heartfelt song. There's a freestyle I put on a long time ago, but it was just genuinely what I was feeling in that moment, and I put it online. It actually did pretty well. People did covers of it and stuff. It was a song called Too Long, and I think it was the most heartfelt, truly, because it was just a genuine expression of my emotions in that moment. It wasn't edited, nothing really done to perfect it. It was just a pen to the paper and out the world kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, here's a good one right here from Maggie. Is there a way for a duet with Ariana?
Yeah, we're definitely working on something. I feel like that would be a vibe. I've been putting together a full record, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But there's nothing down all the way yet. So we'll see.
Ooh, that'll be hot. So are you currently working on a new project?
Yeah. I've been working with her a lot. Like it's been really amazing to kind of connect with my friend again too, because we started this whole thing together. So we both went our separate ways and did our thing for a while, and kind of come back to that friendship and just through music, man. Like it's just such a interesting thing. Sometimes you're away from somebody for so long, and you come back and kick it again, and you just tap into the same vibes,
Right.
Yeah.
That's when there's a true friendship there. When you don't have to speak to each other every day, but you can pick up right where you left off.
Yeah, real friendship.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. What was the book called that you read to learn about the music industry?
Ooh, I don't know the full title. Man, this light keeps coming down. I don't know the full title, but I can get that to you if you just give me your name. I'll lock it in. I know on the top it's the Industry Bible, but you can find it somewhere.
Yeah, on the top it says Industry Bible.
Yeah.
Look that up and see if you can find it. Industry Bible. Let me see. I see a whole lot of favorite songs.
Nice.
Tell Leon that he's an idol, and I'm watching Victorious right now.
Oh, that's love. Thanks for watching.
You know what's so cool about now? You can go on demand and pick anything that you want, so you don't even have to wait for it to come on.
Exactly. And they just put it on Netflix. So I mean, that for me, for a while, it was quiet in the Victorious world. I wasn't getting too much Andre there, but when they premiered it on Netflix, and it became one of the most viewed TV shows, even to this day, like it's still most viewed, most searched, So like, wow. It's like up there with Friends. Like, so it's crazy on Netflix. I'm like, what's going on? What is happening right now? Like out of nowhere, like bad people just started like coming back with the. I mean, I'll take it though. I love it. I say it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Does that trip you out, man? Was that one of the most, even though you've seen it before, just adding to it, does it still trip you out?
Yeah, it doesn't trip me out, but it just really shows just how special that moment was for not just us, but even for the rest of the world. Like how, because when we were on set, we were genuinely having a good time. Like it was friends. We went to school together. We were all just like kicking it, and it showed on screen. So it's cool to see that energy was transferred, and everybody really still feels the vibes of the show.
Yeah, yeah. Because I know sometimes, man, it's heck, Argentina in the room, man. So many people, so many different countries are being represented tonight. This is beautiful.
Yeah, man.
That's what I like about this, man. How you could play a character and go on television. I saw somebody that said they don't understand anything that we're saying, but they hear just watching. I saw that go up the screen. That's amazing.
Oh, that's fire, man. And I mean, they showed us a map of everywhere the show was shown. And I mean, even for us traveling and touring, we went to Germany and to Italy, kids banging on the windows, Mexico, same thing. What I'm trying to say is that it's a worldwide, mission of love. And I'm just glad that everything is worked out, and we've been continuing this, relationship, and continue to just build with each other. I mean, everything I put out, they definitely support and show love for. So I respect it. It's a blessing.
Yeah, man, that network is invaluable. You can never go out and just grab a network like that.
Yeah.
Especially for you guys to still be getting along like you do.
Very special what happened.
How old were you when you first started doing Victorious?
I was 15.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So was there any other things? You started so young. Was there any other desires of things that you wanted to do outside of the music industry and acting? Yeah,
there was a big, for me, my grandfather had all these friends who were, big into real estate. So, he would take Harlem, and we go check out his friends' properties, or go up to another spot and go check out his friend's restaurant. And I just love the energy that all of my grandfather's business owner friends had, like just their vibe, like how they enter the room, how they talk to people. It just, to me, was so cool. And it's definitely something that in my later years I definitely want to get into, just property, land. If anything, that'll be the game I'll jump into, after everything is blown.
Yeah. And it's cool. It's cool to me how you guys were able to stay level-headed, being on television like that. Because a lot of time you see child stars, man, they just go astray and they fall apart. And there's been so many stories, through the years of child stars that they can't make it as adults.
Well, it's
too
tough.
Much pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough growing up in a fishbowl. That's what it feels like as a child actor for a lot of people. They're just completely just being poked at and prodded their entire existence. And rather than being like a human being who's created something, they're usually viewed as somebody who was a part of something, which is tough for a lot of child actors to deal with. And it's why I think, therapists should be mandatory on every, set of Disney, Nickelodeon, network.
Yeah.
Therapists there. Like, these kids are dealing with all kinds of things, including they have therapists, and psychiatrists at schools. Like, why don't they have them on sets for kids who are being, abused online on social media, whether they're the only male on the show or only black kid on the show. I mean, even for me, I can just deal with my perspective, being called a mop-headed, whatever. People get real racist. They get real crazy. You're dealing with real issues that a lot of people need to seek therapy for, that I don't necessarily think these kids are getting. Now, yes, they're getting a lot of money, but I don't think the networks are doing enough to genuinely create a safe culture around personalities,
Yeah.
I'm just hoping
that that makes a lot of sense. That's a very valid point, man, because I remember talking to Janet Jackson one day, and she was talking about being a child on Good Times. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of stuff that we experience as a child grows up into our adulthood, and it's hard to erase a lot of that stuff. Yeah. She was saying when she started to develop, she had started to grow breasts and stuff. Right. And they would take an ace bandage and tie them up to try to keep her flat-chested and looking young. And she said what that said to her as a child was, I'm not good enough.
You're growing too fast. Yeah, that's just...
Yeah.
People are just tough, man. I think, as we go, we just got to find ways to just, heal where we can. But I feel like that's definitely an area that needs some healing, some work,
Yeah,
some real
yeah,
work.
most definitely, man.
But
Especially for you to go up and have to grow up with those kind of issues. I mean, it's hard enough just growing up, period.
period. And my parents were super, super amazing at just creating a safe space to talk and to be heard. And, they always taught me good manners, so I feel like that's a big part of just my DNA and my foundation now. But yeah, I'm just really hoping that at some point these networks really pick up the slack when it comes to just the mental health of the people that they're, putting on this huge platform all over the world. We watched them go through a moment. We watched Orlando Bloom go through some crazy moments, and I just think we need to start learning from our mistakes more.
Yeah, yeah, we do. And that's a very valid point. I'm glad you brought that up. Would you ever work on your own TV show?
Yeah, man. It's funny. A friend of mine was in LA and going through some hard times, and I said, "Hey, man, I know you're a young screenwriter. You can have my couch, and just fill up the fridge, and you good. I got you. Chase your dream." And that same dude now, I think he just sold a script to Netflix and is doing a bunch of stuff. So we've been in talks. We're working on some like new screen plays, and we did a movie together and a TV show that I would really love to pitch. But I'm just all about leverage. So I know I got some music coming out. I got something happening. I just want to have it all happen at the right time.
Yeah, man. So have you been working on a lot of music?
Yeah, a lot of music. It's been a very formative year. Originally we were planning to put out some more stuff during the 2020 season, but kind of just seeing the of COVID and everything, I think it was a smart decision to kind of just really get everything together, get everything lined up. Shot a couple deals. We've been working with me and my production partner. When I say we've been working with Drake, with a bunch of amazing artists I can't really speak of right now because you know how they get their new releases. But just know that you have some new records coming out soon. With the Rascals on it with some amazing artists, and we just finished building our studio. It's got a live room in it.
Ooh, nice.
ABL hooked us up with some speakers. So that's been a heavy lifting job, contractors and interior design. But now that that's over, it's a nice sigh of relief, and we've been getting extra creative.
Wow, man, that's dope. Congratulations on that.
Man, thank you. It was definitely a big moment for us because we knew that if we were to rent a space, we could always break even and sometimes always come out with some profit. But if we own the space, then now it's like it just makes it even better. We can truly, make the space exactly what we need without having to, improve somebody else's property.
Yeah, and see how you just said you wanted to do some things that your grandfather was doing. You picked up on it.
Yeah.
You got them granddaddy jeans, man. You ain't even realize it, did you?
Definitely picked up on it, man. I think right now is the best time, to just do what I said I would do, because I think a lot of people say things and then don't get it done. And I'm a big believer in manifestation and the ability to see something and it just happen. So I'm just going to continue to speak it up, in every interview, in every conversation I can get with somebody I know who's really got the same energy as mine. I'm going to let them know like what my dreams are. And you'll see one by one, they're all going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, you can already see it happening, man. And does it feel good? It feels so good to conquer something that you write down or something that you think about.
It's that feeling. Yep.
Yeah. I've been using one of my wife's taxes. My wife has a A-type personality, so she lists things, right? Wow. And she scratches them off as she goes. So I'm like the unorganized one out of the two of us. So when she had put a list of things that she wanted to get accomplished within the year, and it felt so good. Like some of them, I would knock them out and I crossed them out. Man, it made me feel like, whoa, I did that. So I started using that in my own life. When I come down to my studio, I make me a list for the day and I cross them off as I go. And I feel like I've accomplished some things. That's the best feeling ever, man.
One really cool trick too is if you have a list like that, or even just like a great visual of what you're trying to get, put it on your lock screen on your iPhone. We check the time all the time. The viewpoint of like your goal either being crossed off or like what you want to have happen just being there. I had a Grammy on my lock screen for a year before I got my first Grammy, and it just to kind of show you like the perspective of it, like just how I used it.
Wow.
But not to say it's like that's if you put something on your, you know, how you put a Bugatti on your lock screen, you're gonna get a Bugatti. I don't know, but like I know, like for me, for sure, I definitely had a Grammy on my lock screen.
Right, but you know, you still got to put in the work.
Oh, and I put in all the work to get it, but you know, just to give you perspective on like, you know, that whole.
Yeah, I understand that. You know, when we see things, it makes us want to go after it that much more.
It's crazy how that works in the brain, you know.
Yeah, because my great grandmother used to tell me, because I was the worst student in school. I ain't even gonna lie, but she used to say, if you sleep on your book, it'll soak up in your brain.
You like what, Grandma?
Man, I had my books stacked up trying to sleep on them things because I ain't studied.
Right.
But it ain't work though.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. That's
it
funny.
Ain't work at all.
Man.
But I made it through.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can. Let me see. Hey, can you say my name, please? Who is that? Lorena? Can you say Lorena's name, please?
Hello, Lorena. How you doing? Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
And I think I saw Christy, I believe, that wants you to say her name too. So many people in here want you to say their name.
What's up, Christy? What's going on? It's love. Good vibes. Man.
All right, another question. It's hey, do you actually, I guess that's supposed to be, write your own music like you did in Victorious?
Yeah. But I also co-write too, just to shout out my boy Busy Crook, who's an amazing songwriter who writes well. He wrote with me on Sunken Place and a couple other songs that were on my latest release, Genesis. But for the most part, I really find some of my best songs come when I'm just like alone, just vibing out, you know, really in my own head. Sometimes they take longer to do that way, but I really respect the finished outcome.
Okay. And you know, and speaking of Genesis, I see a question from Tyreek. What inspired the vibe of Genesis?
The vibe of Genesis was the whole EP was created. I was renting this really cool guest house in this really cool castle in Hollywood. It's like it looked like a castle. So like the vibe of it kind of all came from that place because that's where I had all my musician homies pulling up. And when you would first walk in there was like this kind of royal energy to it. So I tried to just use like as much live music, as much just whatever felt like black excellence, you know. And even in the favorite video, I'm like in a kind of royal looking like jacket for most of it. And that was all to kind of implement this like subconscious of like the crowning that I was giving myself, you know what I'm saying, like as a king. And when I was living, you know, at that castle, a lot of the music I made there definitely made an impact. Just about every record that I did there got placed or ended up in a project. So there's something.
So you was actually living there?
Mm-hmm. I was living there for like probably like a year, 2 years. It was really cool, man. It was one of the only spaces I could rent and make music in without dealing with neighbor complaints because the owner was he was a guitarist. And it was such a cool live there. Yeah, it was fun.
Do you play most of the music on your own songs?
Yeah. You know, I play guitar and bass on just about everything. Sometimes I'll get a friend of mine, he Knight, played on Blessings. That's Brian McKnight's son. There's like certain guitarists and bass players that I really have good chemistry with. Recently, I just worked with Thundercat, but when I'm, you know, using live instrumentation, if I can play it, I'll just do it.
God, man, that is so amazing. And I've seen you play some drums where you was killing them things too, man.
Thanks, man.
You know, some people that say they can play drums, they can keep a boom, tap, boom, boom, tap. Woo! Boy, you was killing them drums.
Yo, drums are my first instrument. I never get to play them because nobody uses drums on their songs anymore. They all use like, program,
Right.
So it like when I'm live, if I have an opportunity to, I'll like pull out a solo just to catch a vibe. And at that particular performance, it was definitely like a fun moment. That was probably one of my favorite solos.
Wow. Can you sing it and play at the same time?
I never really mastered that art, but I'm sure if I really practice it, I'll get to it.
Man.
I had a drum set, but I just moved it to my new studio. So I'm here and there, but like I said, we don't use live drums on records like I'd like to. So they're definitely catching dust. I need to get them bad boys out, start practicing singing and playing at the same time. Phil Collins.
Yeah, because I mean, if you can do it, you might as well add some live drums because it brings so much more to a song. That live instrumentation is amazing.
Really, and live especially, like at that moment, and it's like one of my favorite performers to watch. She collaborated with Prince a lot. Sheila E. And just her ability to sing and then go to the timbales and the vibe out and then go back to singing and right. I would try something like that too, where it could be like a almost like a percussion setup that I just kind of flow back and forth to. Me and my team have definitely been talking about once, post Corona, when we get back to the live space, how we can turn stuff up. Jonathan Azu is an amazing manager, and he's making a lot of things happen in that space.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Speaking of Sheila E., I was talking to Sheila over the summer, and she was giving me like all kind of secrets that went into some of these records. She said, like, to make the snare pop a little bit harder, she was biting an apple, like to make that sound. And they filled up the water. What was the song? One of Michael Jackson's songs, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, or one of those songs where she was playing on a water bottle. She was just banging it with the water in it to make that sound. Wow. Oh, man, she was giving me all the secrets, man.
And you both had some like really interesting like behind the scenes secrets, and just in the Michael where I'm just thinking about him, Greg Games, like hanging around him, hearing how they were putting some of those records together. It just let me know like we're so blessed to have things like Splice and the ability to do things over and over and over and over and over. I mean, like they had to perfect things before they got to the studio sometimes,
Yeah. Man, I can't wait to hear the stuff that you're gonna turn out, boy.
Man,
are you gonna do a whole album yourself?
Yeah, I've been working on this amazing record, man. I'm just really blessed to have a lot of the collaborators I've been working with on it, and I've been working with Kendrick's team a lot, Axel Foley and Ricky Riera, and of course my production partner Chris Riddick Times is in there in the mix. But for the most part, it's been a lot of my own personal production and top lines just locked in, and the songs are really, really, really dope. And I'm playing with some cool sound design that's like really pushing us forward. I'm trying to push the vibes. Like, let's push forward, y'all. Like, 70s were beautiful, 60s were great, but let's keep like experimenting. Because if we don't, like, are we just gonna do the same trap pocket like for the next 5 years? I'm gonna just do the same chords for the next 7 years.
Same auto tune. Come on, man.
No, but I feel like if Jimmy wasn't just strong enough to really turn up the distortion and say, fuck that, let me try something different, we would have still been stuck listening to the same old kind of Motown vibes, so yeah. I think it's very important that like working with Ty Dolla $ign and Drake and all of these big influencers who push the sound of music, I see my sound is really coming into its own. And you'll see on this next project exactly how much inspiration I've had on popular music.
Wow, man. Congratulations on that.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for giving me the platform to speak today. I mean, it's really been, like I said, just during quarantine, it's just been me and my girl just working, and she's an artist too, so we've been doing a lot of music here at the house. But it's good to kind of shift gears and like jump into, just the conversation on what the future holds.
Yeah, man. Because, I think you deserve so much more, because I've been watching the whole career as it played out. And like I said, just playing the music, I'm like, wait, man, this Leon Thomas, just the dude on, how you kind of connect the dots.
You start connecting and you're like, hold up, what?
Right, it's the same dude, right? I know this dude right here. My kids watch him on TV. So, I mean, I think you're just an amazing talent, man. And I think that deserves, like the round of applause and the respect that comes along with it. And I think you should be awarded, like we should applaud you on the things that you're doing. Because a lot of times, with us working like we do, we don't hear it. People don't tell us unless we're doing something wrong. So I just wanted to give you the positive vibes and give that energy back to you that you have given to us over the years.
I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. For real.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, what's your take on putting out albums opposed to singles? Because I see a lot of people are kind of like shying away from doing full albums anymore. They don't think people respect albums anymore.
Well, I think the art of making an album has been lost with, the increase of albums being done by 15 different producers and a confused A&R staff. I mean, it genuinely has created these like weird, almost like genreless albums from people. So like, I think the consumer is so confused. They don't want to sit down and listen to a whole whoever's album because like they don't know if they're going to get that same vibe consistently throughout the record,
Yeah.
I think doing singles works if you're in, the super urban space. Like right now is a hot time to just kind of push records out to see if it'll work. And there's really nobody's penalizing, Young Thug or any of these cats for putting out 10, 15 albums because it's like, it just is what it is. The record didn't work, they're going to do another one. That's what it is. As an R&B artist, I look at my predecessors and I see like some of the people who've been able to kill it before me. And, I look at my mentor, Babyface, and how he was able to lock in around a similar age as me. He was 26, 27 with him at LA before, killing and doing their thing in their group. So, I'm ready. And I think everything's flowing at the right time. So I'm going to just genuinely put out albums when I think it's just proper timing and I have enough going on outside of music to help leverage the eyes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I got to ask you, what was it like working with Babyface for you?
Amazing. I mean, for the first year of working with him, I was super starstruck and like kind of like, just like a full weirdo. But like once I got past that, like we genuinely became very cool, and he's been very helpful and influential in just my entire musical journey. So I'm always gonna show love and respect to Babyface because he really let me know I was like slacking or when a song didn't sound dope, or like when I could try something different, or when I needed to just strip things down again and start making records on a guitar, or like whatever I needed to do to get there. He was definitely my Mr. Miyagi for I want to say 5 years I was working with him,
Yeah. And I think that's so important how the older generation can embrace the younger generation, to keep the ball rolling. And even Babyface himself told me that the weirdest thing in his career was having to be on the other side of that board, because he worked with Pharrell and them on a song on a Face-to-Face album. So he said, man, these cats was telling me what to do when I'm used to telling other people what to do. So sometimes we got to step back and learn a new thing. Otherwise, we'd be doing the same thing, just like you said before.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, what was really great, though, is that past everything else, I think the biggest thing he's done for me was gave me the opportunity to work at his studio for free, essentially. The guy just gave me a space to experiment in. As a, inventor of sound, as a young scientist, you need your lab. You need a space to like really get in there and go in. So as a musician, that I need access to the tools that the best use, and beautiful situation, man. I mean, something that I'm never gonna forget and always look back on fondly.
Man, that's beautiful, man. Beautiful. I'm gonna give you a round of applause, brother. Give it up for. Dude is the man sitting next to the man who said, man, we got so many questions in here. We got to do this again. This is just only the beginning.
Hey, man, I'm with it.
We're definitely going to keep this going.
I want to do another one soon where, we get some singing and some songs, some new vibes coming. It'll be cool.
Absolutely. I'm down with that, bro. I love music all day. That's what I do.
Hell yeah.
Look, here's a question for you: jazz or hip hop?
Wow. You know what? I'm gonna go jazz. I grew up Art Blakey, Miles Davis, John Coltrane. It just honestly, I didn't listen to hip hop until I was like 15. It took that long for me to really start, jumping into what was happening out there. But I definitely respect hip hop, and I'm making a lot of money in hip hop. So I love hip hop. Don't get me wrong, but jazz is where I started.
So you play jazz too?
Not necessarily play jazz, but I'm definitely sang some jazz standards. Listening to is my favorite thing to do over everything else. Because those changes are definitely annoying to play as a musician.
Oh yeah, you gotta know what you're doing, man.
Yeah, man, you got to know what you're doing, because it's just more so about like the scales and just like the movement of everything. If I'm ever gonna do something, I want to do it all the way right.
Absolutely. All right,
Mm-hmm.
here's another question for you. What inspired you to start writing songs?
Playing guitar made me want to write more songs, because I think I was writing songs before then, and I had opportunities to the whole artist thing before then, but I didn't take it seriously until I could genuinely create the whole aspect of a song, and coming up with the chords and the lyrics and the melody became an amazing game for me as a kid, and through life. It's just like, help me make it happen.
Wow. How you learn how to play these instruments? I think I asked you that before, but I don't think we ever touched on it.
Well,
did you have classical training, or was it something that you just kind of picked up by ear?
I had jam training. So my stepfather, he played for BB King, Missy Elliott, Salt and Pepper, High Five. Like, he is a dope guitarist, and really, like, helped usher me into all the things I was doing right and wrong on most of the instruments I picked up. And being that we had a studio at the house, we had live instruments just kind of hanging around. So for me, I didn't really have like a lot of video games I was getting into. It was more so just instruments were my video games. And I wasn't antisocial, but I wasn't really into all the things a lot of my friends my age were. So I spent a lot of time isolated, just like trying to perfect instruments.
And boom, there it is. We got 15 seconds. So let me thank you for joining me